3 years ago. Hey, Lieutenant. Tayar is at the gate to see you. Says it's important. I look up from my desk to my platoon sergeant. That's what he said last time when he wanted to fuel for his truck. And before that, he wanted plywood for his checkpoints, and that he ended up selling for a profit. It's always important with that asshole. Take Lucas down there and get the details. Nah, I don't need the Terp get this. TR's speaking English, but he says he'll only talk to you. There was a new development. My platoon and I have been in Iraq for about over 6 months, manning a very tiny outpost of our own. The slice of hell was responsible for the small shit reel of a town called Ala Sinaya Upro Tampa, north of Tariki. Officially, Tyra El Quezam was the leader of the town's Sawat, basically a neighborhood watch with guns. Unofficially, he ran the place. Before the war, he worked as an intelligence officer in Saddam's army. He was smart, cunning, and extremely dangerous. He was also a necessary evil, keeping order to his kingdom through the gully when possible force has been required. I'd suspected for months that he understood English better than he would admit. But this was the first outward proof of it. For him to want to only pay a card for that big. Maybe this time, what he may need actually was important. Well, Sergeant Troy, I guess you'd better bring him in then. I hardly recognized the man escorted into my office. The brash, confident thug I had grown used to dealing with is gone, and his place is furtive wreck. Tahar takes place a seat across from me and accepts the soda Troy offers him. I notice that there are deep circles under his eyes, like he hadn't slept in weeks or days. His hands are shaking visibly, and he has trouble working on the tab of the can. Tahar is terrified. I can't even begin to say how much it scares me. Thank you for agreeing to see me, Mulazem Michael. You will of course be realizing that I only came to you out of this way of grave necessary. His accent was noticeable, but he doesn't impede his speech in the least. The man was fluent. Well, past experiences aside, it does strike me as pretty odd that you'd suddenly reveal you spoke English, Tahari. Especially after all those awkward conversations we had through Lucas about how you didn't speak English. So I figured that there was at least a chance it might be worth my interest. Let me guess. Your boys needed plywood for their checkpoints. Would that it was. I suppose I deserve it. I'd admit I have certainly taken advantage of certain situational realities in the past. His eyes grow hard. But I would ask that you not to make jokes at the expenses of the dead. I sit up straighter. Are you telling me all of them, save myself and 3 others, 2 nights ago? Tahari, you have more than 50 men. What the hell happened? The broken man continues to face me, but his gaze is far away. Why just that, Muslim Michael? What happened? It's 4 hours after my conversation with Tahari, and I'm riding the shotgun in my resident's vehicle. There are more trucks and on the convoy following this Shawat leader is beaten up pickup. All I told that I have 20 of men and with the other 10 needed back on guard on the outpost. I didn't want to lie to my commander. I didn't want to get out of the committed either. Telling him that I needed reinforcements to go monster hunting just isn't going to fly. I can only hope that this will be enough. Some of the townspeople had come to Tahari earlier in the past week. Kids had started going missing. The only signs that they were strange missing, and strange marks leading off into the desert, like something huge and heavy was dragging itself amongst the dunes. They had pleaded for them to send his men after the kids after he complied. Maybe he isn't quite the bastard I thought he was. Tahari managed to follow the marks of the natural cave, dug into the side of the hill, dug out in the wastes, several miles from the rudimentary civilization. I am still unsure exactly what to believe of the rest of Tahari's story. I've known the man for long enough just to be sure that something happens, but God hope he's lying to me, or crazy bandits, bifidist fractions are one living nightmares that slaughter and eat your men in front of you. That's something else. It's twilight. The moon has started to peek over the horizon. Unfortunately, there are some nasty weather heading in. Not uncommon, as winter is the only time it rains here, and the clouds are going to block any illumination. Damn, but I knew that we could have done this mission during the daylight. My gut tells me that this could go sideways really fast. I knew exactly what we were going after. A terrorist cell say. Doctrine supports and a night strike, since our tech is better than theirs. But going on half-blind intelligence, and with the insane stories Tahari's spouting, I'm not even keep facing the monsters in the dark. My coincidence won't let me through. If kids are missing, I'm sure Tahari's telling the truth about that. It has to be now. I briefed my men exactly what Tahari told me. It took me a little while to decide whether or not I was going to, but ultimately, I'd rather stay and have an idea of what they might be up against. The worst case scenario, I ended up looking like a jackass. Best case, but it eliminates hesitation and saves lives. I can only hope that we're so lucky. For anyone who's ever lived in a city, it's almost impossible to appreciate how absolutely empty and dark the desert can be. Night has truly fallen now, and with the clouds totally blanketing the sky, only Tahari's headlights ahead, a faint remainder of the day. I've ordered my men to drive back out. Convoys at night are prey even for the merely human monsters. We left the road behind the 30 minutes ago, bouncing along. The dunes rise up on either side of us. Too high for anyone but my gunner to take over. It's like traveling down a narrow hallway, walled with the sand. It's anyone's guess what's at the other end. I glance over at Robinson, my driver. His face is set, and his eyes are straight up ahead, hands tightly gripping the wheel. The banter that would normally accompany one of our missions is nowhere to be found. Abruptly, the way opens to a large clearing area, about 50 yards across the ringed by the dunes. Ahead of the far end of the clearing is capped by a large hill rock, about 30 feet high. Tahari's headlights are fixed upon the yawning hole that its base seems to bore into the mound. He stops the pickup. I'll call over the radio. All right, boys, I guess this is the place. Establishment is a perimeter, with trucks around the clearing, then dismount. Drivers and gunners stay with the vehicles. Everyone else meets me at the center. Check it to make sure my rifle is loaded and my grenades are accessible with their pouches. I shove open the heavy doors of the vehicle and step down onto the ground. Since we were driving without lights, I'm already wearing my night vision goggles, and the entire world shows up in my monocular light as alternating shades of black and green. I moved to the middle of the perimeter and waited for my men to join me. Sergeant Troy was the first one there. Sir, he says, I'm again going to retaliate that you should not be going on this mission. We don't know what's down there, and you're not too important to risk. I appreciate the concern, Sergeant, but you know my philosophy is led from the front. I can't very well ask you to go down there. The scary dark monster hole, if I'm not willing to. Besides, I grimace. Leaving 2 men per truck out there means that we only have 12 trigger pullers, including me. Whatever is down there killed almost 50 of Tahari's guys, You're going to need all the help you can get. He grabs my vest and pulls me closer. Damn it, sir. Then swap out with one of our drivers. No, Troy. I'm going to do it and that's it. Now, let's go and shut up before the rest of my men get here. Fine, but I have 2 conditions, sir. Number 1, lead from our front or nod. You let the second squad go first. Fair enough. What's number 2? If shit starts going south of there, we're pulling your ass out of the fire. Sergeant, if things go south, I don't think you'll have the chance. Letting go, my platoon sergeant reluctantly backs off. The men have begun to trickle in, which makes himself busy doing final checks of weapons and gear. I appreciate his concern, but there is no way I am sending my men into the situation on their own. If something happens, I need to know about it. The strike team is fully assembled. A light rain has begun to fall as I turn to find Tahari standing next to me. You see, the hole here, sir, Mausoleum Michael, is the south of hell itself. I wish you the very best of luck, my friend, and for you safe return. Assalamu alaikum. He then has his turn to go before I grab his arm. I'm sorry, Tahari. I think you have the wrong idea of what's happening there. You're coming with us. If it weren't possible, I'd swear I could see the blanch through my goggles. Ah, but you surely are jest, for it's very dark in the cave, and the last thing I would want to do is to be drawn attention to your party with a light. He smiles nervously. And don't I have the access to the wonderful equipment you do? Well, looky here. I hold up a pair of goggles. I seem to have found a spare set. Tahari flies into rage, arms wide, split spraying from his mouth. No, I will not go down there again. You cannot make me, you damned American. He then tampers off when he feels the barrel of the sergeant's Troy rifle and the small at the back of his neck. Please, he pleads, please, my friend, do not make me throw my life away. I lean in close, talking to how big in this big man's ear. Now listen to me, Tahari. If you are telling me this is really going down there, I'm at a bigger bastard than you are for making you go down there. But here's something, I continue. What you're telling me is freaking crazy. For all I know, you sold your ass out to someone, and I'm walking my men into a nice real ambush. So I'll give you a choice. You can go with us, where I could promise at least you'll have a chance of surviving, or you could die out here right now. I step back holding the goggles forward to him. What is it gonna be? The look of pure despair passes across the man's face. Shoulders slumped, he takes the goggles from my outstretched hand, completely defeated. Putting them on, he turns away and begins walking through the looming hole. You're wrong, Muslim Michael. He then calls back to me. I am a dead man either way. The rain picked up steadily. Thunder rolls monotonously in the distance. God help me, but I hope you're wrong, I said under my breath. All right, boys, let's go. Make sure you have your positive ID on any targets. Remember, there might be kids down there. Second squad, lead out. With that, my men and I slowly move forward, the sinister entryway beckoning us onward onto the face. What horrors I can only imagine.